What I'd like to see versus Everton, a win would be nice. 3 points up there would be a fantastic result if we were all honest with ourselves. And again, you want to bounce back from the Brentford game. It was disappointing. I know it was about 2 weeks ago now, but just in terms of us dealing with certain problems tactically, I think will Benitez come up against this West Ham side and employ them in exactly the same way. But I think in terms of attacking play and what West Ham can offer to threaten Everton, I think Antonio is a huge plus. Naturally, he's had 2 weeks off. He's coming into the game fresh. I think you look at those centre backs for Everton. You look at Yerry Mina. Again, Ben Godfrey's the one for me. Could be the equaliser in terms of being an aerial threat and dominant in the air, but also very mobile. We've got to get Mikel Antonio on the shoulder. I say it a lot of times, but this Everton team with the back four, a conservative back four, a compact one that isn't going to get isolated in wide areas, Mickey has to be able to get him beyond and cause those centre backs issues, because where in previous games he'll come off to the left hand side and he'll overload himself, and West Ham will naturally build in those wide areas. I don't think it's going to be that effective against Everton. And Benitez has kind of got that balance now between being a counter-attacking side, similar to us really last season, but also defending those wide areas with Damari Gray and Andros Townsend. So we might as well talk about them, given it's kind of the elephant in the room. They've been brilliant. I haven't really been that surprised by... I've been surprised by how well they've done, but I haven't been surprised in terms of their impact. And again, it's another element for West Ham to deal with, particularly defensively. Probably want to talk a little bit about Aaron Creswell. And I wonder, in a game like this where you're going up to Goodison Park and you're going against a Benitez team that will give us possession, Creswell is going to have to get further forward. And therefore, the threat on the transition is, of course, from Andros Townsend and Decore and Damari Gray, but Townsend in particular. I think he's a player that could cause Cress a few issues. I think Cress has got to get tight with him. He's got to stop him getting deliveries into the box when Everton have got the ball. And I think if West Ham can try and nullify that, we are going to hurt Everton in open play when they've got possession. And Damari is a different type of player for me. I think he's slightly more comfortable in coming in central. He can beat players. He's added a little bit of end product to his game so far this season, and his link up with Decore and Damari Gray, Andros Townsend, has been impressive to see. So I think West Ham still have to marshal the wide areas. Again, Fornals will probably play on the left. You imagine Jarrod Bowen will play on the right and protect those. And I think to be fair to us, we can nullify them in that sense. But for me, it's more about what West Ham do, trying to play out from the back, trying to play out from the defensive midfielders, and looking to try and introduce those attacking ones as well. So without further ado, let's discuss Thomas Souček and his role within this side and his role within this game. And it's a chance for Souček to get back to the role that he's had at West Ham in the past. And we've discussed it a lot regarding the two, Declan Rice and Souček, and where they should be, who should be sitting and who should be pressing a little bit higher. Listen, Declan's fantastic, don't get me wrong. And I think he's taken his game to another level this year. But I do look at Thomas Souček and I think he's struggling playing as a defensive midfielder, as a number 6. I think there are vulnerabilities in his game in terms of passing, in terms of dealing with pressure, that for West Ham to try and play out from the back and use him in that sense isn't wise. And I think where he thrives is, again, we know, late runs into the box, getting further forward, trying to create that turnover, trying to add another man to create an overload in those central areas. I don't think it suits him where he's playing at the minute. So I actually think in this game, it would be wise of David Moyes to instruct someone like a Declan Rice to sit a little bit deeper, give the centre-backs protection against the counter. And I think we can not only look a little bit more stable, particularly when we lose possession, but I think we can offer a little bit more going forward. And there will be discussions about fatigue and maybe mental fatigue plays a part. But for me, I just think the role isn't suiting Thomas Souček. And for us to really evaluate whether this is fatigue or not, we have to see him playing a familiar role that he's used to. So I do hope that we see that. In terms of strengths, I think this is a game for Benrahma, Bowen and Fornals to get involved in the final third and cause the two centre midfielders of Everton some real problems. I actually think Decore has probably been one of the most underrated performers in the Premier League so far this season. He's got 4 goals. The amount of recovery tackles that he makes, his ball carrying ability, his passing range, he's so well-rounded as a centre midfielder that West Ham it will cause West Ham some issues at times. And whoever is tasked with going and pressing up against him will have to win that individual battle, because we know that if he can get in the final third, then he can hurt us. But in terms of West Ham having the ball, you look at Bowen coming off that wing, you get Fornals into the central areas, Ben Rama. If we can get between the half spaces between Alan and Decore, or if Decore is out of position, then I think West Ham will be able to create clearer cut chances. And we'll be able to isolate those two centre-backs and ask questions of them. And I think once you do that, and once you pose that type of question, and it frees Mikel Antonio up to play that number 9 role, then I definitely think we can get at Everton. But of course, you have to have the quality to play through the two centre midfielders. I don't think we need to necessarily be progressive in that sense. I just think we need the quality of passing. And then, of course, you need the players to find those spaces. And at times with West Ham, possibly Fornals and Bowen, that they do play quite wide. But getting the central overload for me is key to how West Ham can win this game, because it will present questions to an Everton team that, let's be honest, are normally resolute, normally organised. But that's a fragility tactically that I think David Moyes can look at and really take advantage of. But of course, the counter-attack is there for us. The counter-attack is there for them. I think it's wise that we don't make this game open-ended. We don't suit Everton's strengths. We try and be conservative to a degree in how we use our double pivot. I think that's the first thing to mention. And we've got to show quality in those areas. And I think, it reminds me of the Leeds game, second half, when Declan and Souček were a little bit more conservative. We still found passes. We still found space. We were more effective in transitions. And attacking midfielders were given the license to get forward and get in those final third pockets where they can hurt the opposition team. So I think it's a similar type of game plan from that we can use. And let's try and get at Everton's centre backs. Let's cause them problems. Get in behind. Use the mobility. So I think we're in for a tight game. I think we are. I just think we've got to be able to not be too forthright. In my opinion, West Ham, I think it's the right thing for David Moyes to build up from the back. And I'm sure we will get there. Absolutely. There is a right time to pick to when you put your fullbacks forward. In this game, I just think we have to be able to manage that. And when you take the transition away from Everton, I think you play Rondon up front. There's not a player that's necessarily going to run in behind. You devalue their attack. And I think once you can do that, then you can get at their defence. And with the quality that we have, and again, we need a little bit more composure possibly in that final third. But when you say that, Fornals has got goals this season. We know Saibon Rama's goal and assist return. We know Mikel Antonio's goal record. I think we're good enough to get the win. So I am going to go 1-0 West Ham. I think we nick it late on. Probably 75th, 80th minute. I think it's just going to be a little bit tight for us. And it'll be a bit of a task to break Everton down, but I think we've got enough quality to do it. But let me know in the comment section what you think about this game. Subscribe to the West Ham Way if you're watching and you're new. I will, of course, return for a post-match reaction tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.